Hello, I'm Eileen Roche from Designs and Machine Embroidery, and today is a very exciting Between Friends episode. Thank you for joining me. We have a new product reveal. I have two guests. Oh my goodness, there's so much in store, right? So first, let me just start off by welcoming in our lead educator, Ashley Jones. She's broadcasting today from Key Largo, Florida. So welcome, Ashley. How are you?
I'm good. Good to be here. Excited about this reveal, Eileen. When I got my new product, I was pretty excited to try, and I just love it.
Yeah, you know, kind of new product really drives our whole industry, right? We're all of us embroiderers, quilters, sewers, you know, we like new gadgets, right?
Absolutely. And one of my favorite things about working for Dime is that we bring solutions to challenges. So with every new product, it just gets easier to embroider and, you know, a little less frustrating. So I love that.
Yeah, I do too, because, you know, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, we had faced a lot of many more challenges that we had to overcome on our own in our sewing room. And today, you know, with all this community that we enjoy on Facebook and able to connect with people and then share these new products, these new solutions, it's really made embroidery a lot easier.
Absolutely. Yeah, keeps our hobby fun.
I know. Well, I know many people that they already know who's going to join us because it was in the announcement. And so that's our good friend, Reen Wilcoxson from Embroidery Garden. So let's welcome in Reen. And Reen's going to give us a little backstory on today's new product. Hi, Reen.
Hi, Eileen. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
Great to have you here. Great to hear you.
Yes, it is. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, we'll just let everybody in, you know, as we do a little prep, right, prior to going live. And we did have some technical difficulties, lots of sign language going on. That's always frightening for a live broadcast, but we're back on. It's all great. Yep. Okay, we have a lot of people joining us. Like here is, let's see, Deb Scott. She's taking a break from her edge to edge with her monster hoop and weightless quilter. Nice. That's a fun afternoon, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
Love that.
Yeah, and we have folks from Delaware, Salt Lake City, and Star Raymond is saying hello. And Miss Kay Scraps, do you know her, Reen?
No, I don't know that name, but welcome.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Yes, and Barbara Jones, she can't wait to see what's happening. Arnell Burrows, I'm sure you know her, right?
Yes.
Yes, she's a member of the Wolf Pack, I think, right?
That's where I believe she is.
Yes.
And I know she loves purple. That's one thing I remember.
Isn't it funny what we, you know, connect with people that we meet online? You know, it's just one thing, right? Like you, I often think of that beautiful coral, that beautiful quilt that's behind you, Reen. I often think of you with that color. So
I wore it many, many times during events.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a great one on you today. So, okay. So Reen, tell us, you know, you are the owner, founder of Embroidery Garden, and which is, you know, the industry's leader of in the hoop embroidery designs. So this is something you've been doing for many years. And during that time, I imagine, you know, you've taught in person, so you've seen hundreds of students and some of their struggles. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, I've been doing in the hoop designs for practically 20 years now, and I've seen challenges myself as I've worked on, you know, projects. And I did teach and travel for many years, probably 5 or 6 years, doing events across the country, teaching my designs. So I would kind of see struggles that, you know, the attendees would have when doing in the hoop designs. And, you know, after seeing these struggles, I decided to I just kind of thought of a product that would help them and help me to get, the best results they could get when they're working on in the hoop projects.
That's awesome. So should we go ahead and just share it, just show what it is? Because
let's just unveil it.
Yeah, you've been waiting a long time. So this is our new 100% wool hoop and press pads, and they fit standard embroidery hoops. Like here is these beautiful ovals. They're for the Bernina machine. And then the rectangular pads fit a multitude of brands. And you're going to see how they fit a Bernina, a Janome, a Baby Lock, Brother, and Viking and FOP today. So, but there's, outside of that, now remember, these are for your standard embroidery hoops, this kind, inner ring, outer ring. And you might think this is quite funny for Eileen Roche to be talking about a standard embroidery hoop. I do own them, and I do use them occasionally, but mostly it's monsters. But I know for in the hoop, a standard embroidery hoop is often the right choice for the hoop. So Reen is going to show us how she uses it on an in the hoop project.
Yes, I am. So not only, are these pads great for in the hoop projects, but we're going to show you other uses for them too to help you with your machine embroidery. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera, and I've started an in the hoop design. And a lot of you know, when working on in the hoop designs, a lot of times you have to work on the back side of the hoop. And on this project, I've gotten, maybe halfway through the project. And now it is time for me to work on the back side. So I'm going to grab my appropriate sized hoop and press pad, which I am using a 6x10 hoop. And I'm just going to place the hoop upside down on top of the pad. And now I have a nice firm surface. One of the things that I would see when I was doing teaching classes, etc., is when you have to fold a fabric over, it is best to be able to press it, because if I just fold it over and I taped it, notice this bubble. I'm going to talk about this bubble in a little bit more in a few minutes. But during this project right now, it would be the next step is to fold the fabric over. And this is the perfect time to press this fabric. And so I'm just going to take my iron. I have the support of the wool mat underneath my hoop. It's right here underneath the stabilizer. And I'm just going to press, and I'm pressing this seam so that now it's nice and flat. And you'll notice that I am pressing. I'm not ironing. Ironing is a back and forth motion. And, that could move your stabilizer a little bit. So I just press. I'm also not going to steam, because sometimes we know certain stabilizers, if we steam them, it might distort them a little bit. So I'm just pressing. And now you can see how nice and flat this fabric lays. There's no more bubble here like I had before. And now I can also take my tape and apply it. I need to hold this fabric down so that when I put it back on the machine, it doesn't flip or move on me. And with the support of the pad underneath, I can press down on my tape to have it adhere really, really well. During, classes, when I taught, when you had to put tape on and there was nothing under the hoop and you started pressing, I actually saw some people pressing almost to the table on their stabilizer. And you can only imagine what that would do. It's going to loosen your stabilizer in the hoop, and it's going to throw your project off a little bit. So at this point of my project, I do need to add another piece of fabric on the back side. So I'm going to take my next piece. I line it up where it needs to be. Again, I have the pad under there so I can press my tape down really well. Because we know sometimes, depending on the tape we're using, etc., we do need to really press it down well, because we don't want our pieces to fall off. I am going to stitch the next step of this project so I can show you a couple more things that we can do with the hoop and press pad. But I do have to put the fabric that goes on the front side of the pad down, and I will tape it. I am going to go ahead and stitch this next step, and it's going to stitch really quickly. So let me just get it on the machine and get it started. It'll only
Okay,
take a few seconds really to
Yeah.
stitch.
That's fine, Reen. While you're doing that, we'll answer some questions because we've had several questions about.
Already.
First, an earlier question was, are they available for Bernina? And yes, they are. So they are the oval hoop and press pads. And they also asked, so what sizes? So we have a 5x7 in the rectangular pads, a 6x10, 8x8, and an 8x12. And these will work across multiple brands. So towards the end of today's session, I'm going to show you each of these individual sizes on some standard hoops, and we'll measure them so you can see if it's going to be compatible with your hoop. Now, the sizes that we have listed on, our marketing and product packaging is for the sewing field, right? Like a 5x7 is what we always call a 5x7 hoop. But you and I both know that's not what the hoop measures. So we will be adding that information to the website. We just kind of discovered it now that might be helpful for all of you. So give us a couple hours and we'll get that done. But towards the end of today's program, I'll actually measure it on camera so you can see. And Teresa DeWinter, is this sold as a bundle? It is sold as a bundle and individual also. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so Reen, how are you doing over there?
Well, I've gotten the next step stitch, so let's go back to the table. And the next step in this design would be to go to the back side again. So I just turn my hoop over, place it on top of the hoop and press pad. And now I do have to turn this piece of fabric over and press it again. And again, if I were to just fold it over and start taping, you see that bubble. I know it might be a little hard to see, but this is the time when you would want to press. Getting rid of these bubbles and pressing your fabric so that it lays perfectly flat is going to create beautiful linings in your in the hoop projects. It's going to keep your fabrics nice and flat. It's just going to make your end product look beautiful. And I think that's what everyone wants, is their end product to look absolutely the best it can be. I am going to tape this down. And again, I have the pad underneath to give me support so I can really press. Another use for the pad, on this particular design, I need to do some trimming. I need to trim out this area of stabilizer right here. The zipper is actually behind there, and this is what will allow us to get into our purse when we're done with it. So with the pad underneath here, I can easily get my scissors under here, and I can just take them and slide them across to remove this little piece of stabilizer. This isn't a step that's in every in the hoop design, but when you do have to trim, it is nice to have the support of that pad underneath so that you can quickly and easily trim something.
Oh, I love that, Reen, because that step is crucial to success for lots of zipper projects. And prior to this hoop and press pad, when you insert those scissors, you absolutely have to apply pressure on that stabilizer. And I can just imagine how many times the stabilizer has been dislodged from the hoop, right?
Oh, I saw it many times happen in in-person classes. So, that's one of the reasons why I thought, we needed a product that would allow you to be able to put pressure on the backside of the hoop, because a lot of in the hoop projects require you to go to the backside.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and the pressing is so important as you go. I mean, in bag making, which we're teaching more of now, and so pressing from the very beginning is important to get that really nice looking bag in the end. So pressing all the way through your project.
Right. You do it when you sew something, when you're machine sewing something. So why not do it when you are using your embroidery machine, for an in the hoop project or something. But I'll just quickly go back to my project for one more second.
Sure.
The next step would be to fold this over and press it and, just continue on with the bag. I probably would have to go to the back side, I think, one more time, but I have the main things done. And on this one, I did do an applique. Isn't that pretty?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so shiny. What is that, Reen?
Well, I found this fabric at my local fabric shop. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it is very shiny and it was stretchy. I was able to cut it using my cutter to cut out those applique pieces. But as you can see, it's got stretch to it and it's really shiny. So this is a fabric that I would not want to touch my iron to.
Absolutely. I mean, it would just melt all over the surface of your iron, and you'd have to, apply a cleaner, and hopefully it would come off, and maybe not. I mean, I've had some irons that I've had to chuck, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's where, the press and hoop pad, the hoop and press pad comes in again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Love that. Yeah. Pressing the applique, not just pressing because the fabric is not heat safe, but, protecting your stitches. Ironing from the back also protects your stitches whenever you are doing applique or embroidery as well.
That's right. And Ashley, one of our viewers, Shirley, said also for pressing down applications for in the hoop projects where you have to iron on pieces from the back. Exactly. That's exactly what Ashley's about to show us. And, there's a couple of reasons why you would press from the back. And, so Ashley, take it away. Show us.
Yeah, sounds good. So I've got already an applique design prepped, and I'm actually working. So as Eileen mentioned, several different hoops fit. These pads fit several different hoop brands. And so right now I'm working with my Baby Lock hoop, which would be the same as Brother. But you can see I've stitched my applique and I now have that outline that is ready for my applique piece. So for me, doing applique, I always like to put a fusible web on the back of the fabric that is the applique. It just keeps your applique looking nice for the long haul. And so I'm going to peel that paper off, which I did there, and then it's ready for my applique here. And so this is actually the hardest part. It's getting it all lined up. All those points. There we go. That was actually easier than I thought. But I'm going to move it over to the hoop and press pad. And I want to just kind of tack it in place because our thread and our stitches, especially satin stitches, I think show when you iron those threads, it kind of crushes your threads. So I'm just putting a little bit of a heat there kind of in the center as to not press down on my stitches, but I just want to kind of hold this in place so that whenever I go to the back and iron, it'll be ready. But ironing over your stitches, it can crush them and make them look slightly different. And so I'm just making sure everything's flat under here. So I'm putting my pad right over that. And then again, I'm just going to iron from the back, just like Reen said. It's going to make sure that my stitches are protected. They are sinking into the wool. So the wool is making sure that, they've maintained their loft and their luster. So just a little bit of pressing. And then you are all set from the front. So really easy. And now not only is this, in place, when I start my embroidery machine, my applique is not going to move around. I don't have to hold it, but that fusible is going to make sure that it's fused to my item for life. So it's going to look great from beginning to end. But again, that was my Brother and Baby Lock style hoop. But I also have here, I'm a Viking user too. And so you can see if we've got any Viking and FOF users out there. So this is my 5x7, and the hoop and press pad works great for my Viking hoops as well. The same thing here. I've got that fusible. I would place that down and get it lined up. And again, I don't want to iron all over this because I don't want to distort or kind of crush those stitches. So just kind of get that in place. A little bit of heat to kind of set that.
Okay. So Ashley, everybody wants to know, what's that little iron?
Oh, that's the a Cricut press, and it's just a little craft iron, no steam or anything. Right. And so it's just a little mini iron, perfect for what we're doing here. So
perfect for in the hoop. It's perfect for tiny little things like shoes and, caps, that kind of thing. But
and this does not have steam, which, as Reen pointed out, we don't always need steam. And I actually don't use steam a lot when I'm doing miniature things like this. So, just a little iron. And then now that's in place, I'm ready to head to my embroidery machine and finish the stitching. And I know this is going to look great forever. So, so 2 different hoops there, both 5x7, but, that 5x7 fits in both my baby lock and my Viking hoop, which is really nice for me because it makes it more universal. So what do you think, Eileen?
Yeah, I love it. And so why don't you flip that, the hoop and press pad over so we can look at the other side of the hoop and press pad. So that has a non-slip surface on it. And so depending on where you're working in your sewing room, when you have that press pad down, it's not going to slip and slide all over. Because, when your hoop is upside down, right, you're not going to see that hoop and press pad. And, you really don't want it, the pad to start moving around on your table, right? I mean, it's the same thing as like when you're hooping the outer ring, it moves everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, to fuse my fusible web on the back of my pieces of fabric before I cut, I actually use the hoop and press pad just right by my machine. So it's actually kind of nice to have a press pad, that I can move around within the room and use it wherever I need it as well.
Absolutely. And with that little iron, I'm sure you can, make all kinds of small workspaces in your studio.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, another great reason to use the hoop and press pads is when you make a mistake. So I'll show you that. Okay. And then I'm going to show you all the different sizes. So let me just kind of clear out these bundles. And people are asking how much they are. Well, they range in price from, let's see, $29.99, and then the bundle is $149.99. But we'll get into all that in a little while later. Okay, so as you can see, we have that non-slip surface. So I'm going to put that down. Of course, I'm on a hoop mat, but that's okay. You can never have enough protection. And then I have a Janome, their RE hoop, I think. And so I'm just going to place that over my press pad. And then with my stitch eraser, I'm going to remove some of these stitches. And, I love this because I don't have to hold on to the hoop at all. The hoop and press pad is doing all the work for me to keep that still, so that when I run the blade across those satin stitches, it just keeps it still and stable, because this is a blade, right? So as we are running this blade across those satin stitches, the bobbin stitches on the back, I don't want to chew up that much stabilizer because eventually I could actually cut into my fabric. So that hoop and press pad really protects the fabric and just keeps it all in the right place. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch blades because I'm going to work on the fill stitches. And you know how easy it is to switch those blades, right? You just pop them out and then pop the other one in place. I wish I wasn't so friendly with my stitch stitch ripper, but I am. But I am. So, I use the bigger blade for larger areas, and I'm just dragging it across those bobbin stitches. And in a moment, I'm going to flip this over and we'll pull out all those stitches from the front. This is a lot easier than using a seam ripper. Right, Ashley?
Oh, absolutely. So definitely makes it much quicker. If you have a mishap and you need to save your project.
Yeah. So these are motif stitches. So, you can see the pattern in there. That's not going to come out as easily as the regular fill, but it most certainly will with a little bit of work. So let's go ahead and flip that over. And then we can just start to pull these out. And I love that. So rewarding, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
When you make a mistake and out it comes so easily. I love it.
And it's best to rip stitches from the back side of the hoop.
Always, always. I really never use a stitch ripper on the top side of the fabric for that very reason, because you are not only cutting threads, you are going to be, ripping into that fabric. I mean, here, now I have a pretty hot mess here, but let's flip that over. There is quite a bit of stabilizer that has been, shaved, right? So, if I was on the fabric side, it would really be a problem. So always work from the back. And when you have that hoop and press pad, it supports your work, and you can just remove those stitches with no problem. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the different sizes. So this is a Janome for the 15,000 machine. And of course, the 5x7 fits in there very nicely. And that would also fit in our brother and baby lock hoops. So let's see what else we have. Well, here is the small oval for Bernina. And then, of course, in that Bernina bundle is also, here's the small oval. This is the midi hoop, which I can show you how that fits right there. And that's a very popular hoop. It goes on almost all their machines. And then, of course, the bundle also includes the maxi hoop. So for you Bernina users, you know what hoops you have at home. And they work just beautifully. So then let's see. Here we have the 8x8. Of course, this is such a versatile size, that 8x8. So here it fits on a Viking 8x8, nice and snug. And also the Baby Lock and Brother 8x8, nice and snug. And let's see, what else do we have? Well, we have a 8x12. So I'll bring that up. Now this is a larger rectangular hoop. So why don't we measure that for those of you who, have hoops of different sizes. So we call this the 8x12 because that's the sewing field of this hoop. But the actual pad is 14 inches by 8 3/4. So you should measure the interior of your hoop to see if it will fit. Oh, and then here we also have, now here's a Viking hoop. That's not a perfect fit, but this is enough area to support the fabric and keep it in place when you are working on it. So it would be in this fashion. You can see it's just a little bit of open area, top and bottom. So I wouldn't be too concerned that it fits absolutely perfect. It's way better than working on air, right? So the length of this is 14 inches and the width is 8 3/4. I guess I already did that, sorry. And let's go ahead and measure that, what we call the 8x8. And its actual size is 8 1/2 by 10 inches. So, and the 5x7 measures not 5x7. It's the mystery of all embroidery, right? We always say 5x7, but that's 8 5/8 by 6 inches. So, yeah. Oh, and Sharon, you just ordered the 5x7. Good for you. You're going to love that. You're going to love that. So, Jane wants to know, do they work with dime monster hoops? Well, dime monster hoops, right? The best thing about a dime monster hoop is that it's flat, right? The flat metal bottom. So you're not hooping fabric in and under an inner and outer ring. So they don't really work with the snap hoop monsters. They were created for standard hoops. That's what Reen Wilcoxson uses for her in the hoop projects. And that was the whole idea behind these hoops. Could you use it in a pinch with a monster hoop? Possibly, but your hoop is not going to rest on a flat surface because it's so skinny. So, but I'm sure you use standard hoops like the rest of us for sure. Let's see, right? What other questions do we have? Okay, so yeah, they are sold individually, and they start at $29.99. They're on sale this week, and they go up in price according to size. Now, the oval Pads are $99 and the rectangular pads are $149.99. That's the introductory price this week. So I hope you take advantage of that. And another secret I'm going to let you in on is we have a very limited quantity right now. So they are available today until we sell out, and then we will be back in stock in 2 weeks. So if you miss it today, you can take advantage of it again in 2 weeks. You know, sometimes we feel like we're not really living in COVID, but we are.
Right. Yeah. So Eileen, Judy Warren had a question for you too. She said, do you use the non-slip side when you're doing the stitch eraser? The
I
stitch
did not.
gripper.
I use the wool side, but
Yeah.
you could have. Yeah, there'd be no harm in that. But I don't think you would, you know, stitch, like rip all the way through all the fabric to the wool. So I would be okay with that.
And I think I would still want that non-slip side to keep it in place too as well. So I love Joanne Banco said it's great for travel. And so like for ironing surface while you're traveling, I thought that was a really good idea too as well. And then we also have a question here from Laura. Laura Parks. So would you pressing from the back with shiny, stretchy fabric? So, and I would say, yes, it would work great for that.
That's exactly what I did because I did not want to touch that fabric with my iron. And if you think about it too, doing an applique, some people have asked me, well, why would you want to press from the back side doing an applique? If you think about it, so your applique is here on the front, you put it over the hoop and press pad. And then when you start to press with your iron, you have the adhesive is basically right here underneath your stabilizer. So when you are applying heat and the heat is activating that fusible, it's actually drawing it up to your base fabric that you're putting it on. So if someone told me that, and as soon as they said that, that stuck in my mind. Yes, that's a great idea. And a use for the hoop and press pads is to press your appliques from the back side.
Absolutely.
You get a really nice secure bond.
And some fusibles, the heat moves towards the heat. The adhesive moves towards the heat source. So, like on our patch attach that we use to apply patches to garments, finished items, that's the best way to apply that patch attach to the garment is to, like Ashley showed, you set it in place with the tip of the iron so that when you flip it over and you're working from the wrong side, the patch is in its right place. But to permanently attach it, that's when you apply heat because the fusible that's on the patch is going to pull towards the heat source, which is on the back of the fabric.
Right. So it'd be great to attach your patches to, shirts or, something else. You got that support and you got that wool underneath it.
Yes, for sure. And, when you're working like upside down, as you are, Reen, often, from the back side of the hoop, you can't see that press pad. So that's why if you have that, using the non-slip surface down on your work surface, then it's not going to move away from you as you're working, upside down, right? So.
Right. You don't want your pad moving at all anyway.
Yeah.
Now,
we've tried to cover and offer the most popular hoop sizes, but we most certainly are open to other hoop sizes. So please, send us an email to customer service and let us know what sizes, you want. And that's what we will, start our list. And that's how we will offer the next ones by demand, really, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Valerie wants to know, is there a discount code? Well, there is a discount code. The promo code is Patch Crazy. And here it is in that little yellow box at the bottom there. Perfect. And, this is also helpful, like Shirley's saying, would this be helpful in pressing suede or velvet? Well, velvet, I would say, somewhat, but a velvet board is the absolute best tool to use when pressing velvet because a velvet board has kind of like teeth, right? That hold the fabric and let the nap descend into those teeth. But for other napped fabrics, it most certainly would work very well. It's also great for, garments with rivets or beads that, that you're kind of working around and you don't want to press your big iron over those metal or glass crystal areas. So, there's lots of different uses for that. And let's see, how thick are the wool pads? Well, let's see. We can measure that. Here we go. So it is from top to bottom, just a little over a half inch, because we have that nonstick grid on the bottom. So we are just at about, 5/8. That's how thick they are. I love answering these questions, don't you? I do, really. It's fun. Yeah. We learn so much from our viewers because, they think of all these things, So let's see. When you enter Patch Crazy, it says the discount code isn't available. So I'm hoping my team is on that and making sure that does work. And we'll just maybe wait a couple minutes till it does.
Again.
I think the pads are great too for pressing blocks. If you're a quilter and you're making blocks, whether they be in the hoop or, just machine sewn.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just sneaking around here. Okay. Let's see. Lisa Schwartz says she loves that there's 2 different bundles. Sure. We have to always think of our friends for, Bernina and other oval hoops. Let's see. So the rectangular goes with the Baby Lock Brother. That's correct, Judy Warren. And the individual sizes would probably be appropriate for Viking and Fa for sure. So let's
just remember to measure.
Yeah, right. So Susanna says that the discount code is working. Cynthia used it. It's working. Also, love that. And Philback says, Ashley, you were great yesterday.
Oh, thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. So, and thanks for joining.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Diana Mullins Atkinson, she's one of our educators here at Dime. She's up in Illinois, and she does lots of quilting, and she loves them for pressing the quilt blocks. It's so handy to have that right next to your sewing machine instead of, maybe if you're like me, I have to walk across the room to my ironing board. Right. So it's nice to have that right next there.
And they're such a nice size too. If you go to class, if you're going to like an in the hoop class at, your local store or something, pop it down in your tote bag that you're taking and, use it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very portable. Let's see. I wanted to show something over there. Oh my goodness. I forget what it was. Oh, well, let's see. Ashley's presentation. She was great.
Thank you.
Let's see. The discount code is works here at Dime, dzgns.com. It's not available over at Embroidery Garden, different website. So
that's a newsletter is going out as soon as we're done, and there will be information for all then.
Right. And then the individual pads are available. Oh, yeah. So that was about the Baby Lock Brother bundle. They wanted to know what sizes were in that. So that is 4 different sizes. It is the 5x7, which is down here, the smaller piece here, and then the 6x10, and then this one is the 8x8, and then on the back is the 8x12. So this is the 8x12. Somewhere the 8x12 is in there. Believe me, there's a 5x7, 6x10, 8x8, and 8x12. It's kind of a Rubik's Cube, putting this together, trying to figure out what would be the best way to shrink wrap it, so.
And it is just, the look is deceiving. I do agree with you, Eileen. Like, how you're saying the 8x12 is in there. When I first got mine, if you say 5x7, we all think of this size hoop, but the pad is smaller than that because it has to fit in the opening. And so, you look at this and you think, oh, that's not the 5x7, but remember, it has to fit inside of there in order to support your fabric in the hoop, because it's filling up that area when your hoop is upside down. So it's closer to what the sewing field is than your whole hoop area, but still larger than the sewing field, but definitely not as large as the hoop itself.
Yeah. So Donna Bashinger had a question. She said, if you're using it as a pressing mat, will the extended heat affect the non-slip backing? I really don't believe so, Donna. That's a thick wool pad. And
It is,
Right.
yeah.
I've
And I,
never,
like I said, I ironed on my Fuse Me fusible web. And I mean, I don't, I'm holding that there, and I ironed quite a few pieces for all my applique. And so the pad was pretty warm, but I agree, Eileen. I think it's really thick enough that the heat does not get to the backing.
right. And remember, we're not leaving the iron on the pad, right?
Right.
You're pressing. It's a momentary movement. And then, you're storing the iron upright. And if you're not, you're creating a fire. So, right? That's a dangerous moment.
And
So
I
then
don't use steam either, when I'm using it. I just, use the heat and press.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So let's see. Mary S. Larson wants to know about, we buy a set not large enough, or wait till the new sizes come out for a machine like the Janome M17. Well, we're always going to be introducing new sizes, so it's a matter of time. But, speaking of time, development takes quite a while. So to me, if this is a product that you really love and it's going to work with most of your hoops, then I would jump on it for sure. And these are mainly for the single needle machines at this time. We will be working on a multi-needle pack in the future. Yeah. And Joan wants to know, is anybody else getting a voice in the background? We don't hear that here, so maybe you folks in the chat. Okay, so that was a lot of fun, huh, ladies? Well, would you all like to see what's been happening with On the House?
Yes.
Yes, I love the On the House designs.
Yeah. So Sue S. Brown, she stitched out the King Star Fall metallic on that with that beautiful pumpkin. Isn't that great?
That is. I love that.
Yeah, really beautiful. And she did the quilting in the King Star metallic too. Really awesome. It was great. So just bear with me a minute here, a little technical difficulty. Okay, let's see. Marianne McCain, Dottie, she did the coasters with the tray. Beautiful job on that. Love that. I love how those seasons are so identifiable, aren't they?
Yeah, those are cute. That's one of my favorite projects.
Yeah, I mean, with the swing on the summer, it just kind of calls out the spring, and they all coordinate, but they're really different. Love that. Okay, and then we have, Margie Makeda. She did the Dog Days of Summer, the school bus with the doggies in the windows. I love that. That's great.
That turned
really
out
well done. Very, very well done. Okay, so I guess everybody wants to see what's up for next this week's design, which is another Sunny Girl, and she is Spring Summer Girl. So she's got a spade in her hand and a beautiful sun hat on with a flower in her band. And of course, she's going to come in two sizes. You're going to have the 4x4, which is just her face and hat. Of course, those fun sunglasses. And of course, the 5x7 has the figure, the spade, and her ponytail, some of those leaves and flowers. Isn't that adorable? We just love Sunny Girl.
I think that is so cute. So we have fall, spring, and the original Sunny Girl, correct, Eileen?
We do. And next week is our project, the On the House project. So if you give it a little thought, I wonder what it'll be. But I think it's going to have a Sunny Girl theme. But we're so excited. We know that so many people are having fun with it. Okay, so let's see. Mary Krups is having trouble finding the site. So it's www.dzgns.com. And we'll get that link up there on the screen in just a moment. And my computer's freezing. There we go. So that's the website that you want to go to. And you can get free shipping on the individual pads if your order is over $75. So, of course, the free shipping most certainly applies to the full bundle. Next week, I was talking about the project. Well, I have another guest, ladies, and it is Sue L.S. Brown from OML Embroidery. And finally, she's coming back. I'm so excited to have her back. It's been quite a while since she's joined us here at Between Friends. No fault of hers that we've had a scheduling, anyway, we're happy to have her back. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. We'll do the project reveal, because she does a sew-along the Saturday following the On the House project reveal. So I do that on Thursday, the last Thursday of the month. 2 days later, Sue does a sew along on YouTube, and she is OLM Embroidery. So I hope you'll join us next Thursday and also join Sue on her sew along, because it's going to be a good one. I'm making the project now.
Nice. Right? Can't wait to see what the project will be.
Yeah, well, it should be fun. And it's something that just about all of us need or make during, this hobby, put it that way.
Nice.
So, yeah, you can start guessing. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions before we go. What is the circle for the pads? What is the circle for the pads for the discount? Oh, so that was Patch Crazy, Lisa. I think you're asking for the code, and that was Patch Crazy. That's what's going to get you the free shipping. No, it's not going to be a mug rug, Lady Fair. We've done that before. We may have another mug rug this year. Not sure, but not going to be a mug rug. This is more sewing related, quilting related, embroidery related, all those things. Let's see. And where's the pumpkin design? Well, you'll have to ask Sue Brown where that pumpkin was. That was her beautiful embroidery design. But we most certainly loved seeing Reen Wilcoxson's hand-sketched florals in your hoop, Ashley, today, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was really pretty. For those of you who are new to her new collection, it's only been out like a month now, right, Reen? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I used it too on this design. And for people who didn't see the other live that we did, SVG files are now included in that download.
Nice. Yes, that's right. We upgraded that because, people asked. So we said, duh. Right? Okay. So let's see. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you, Reen. And Reen, we're so excited to debut this new product that you've brought to Dime. We're really grateful for your idea and working with you. It's been a whole lot of fun. And I know we have more in store coming in the next few months. So thank you for joining me.
I want to thank you too and all of Dime for bringing this to life, bringing, my idea to life and being able to offer it to everyone out there, because it's a product that all machine embroiderers and even sewers can use.
Awesome. I think so too. Absolutely. And Ashley, you always do such a great job. Kudos. Thank you for joining us and sharing the applique tips. We appreciate it. So next week, I hope you'll join me here, same time, 1 o'clock. If you want to be notified of when we go live, instructions were in the chat. You can kind of scroll back up in the chat to find out how you can be notified when we go live. And like I said, next week, I have my good friend Sue S. Brown of OML Embroidery joining me for the On the House project reveal. So until then, take care and happy sewing.